These 5 blanks all need a little bit of help. You can see that the brass tube is sticking out past the end of the blank. What happened here is when I was barrel trimming, I got a little too aggressive with the trimmer, and you can see where it did its job, but it left the tube exposed. Now I can't put these on the mandrel this way because if I do, one of 2 things will happen. This can get driven up between the mandrel and the bushing, and it will lock the blank and the bushing onto the mandrel, and it can actually damage the mandrel. The second thing that can happen is it can get mashed back in there, which means it won't be a nice round surface, and when I go to press my pin part in there, it's just not going to fit. So what we need to do is we're going to take a little file, and we're going to file all these down. Now, the one thing that may have to happen is you can see this one's got a nice entry point here, so I can come at this one from the side. But if we take a look at, say, this one, well, it's not too bad there, but let's say that it was square all the way around. You may have to trim a little piece of this off. So I just take it to the bandsaw and cut it off at a 45-degree angle so that I can get a nice flat surface to get in there and file that barrel down. You'll see that the barrel kind of bends over a little bit as I file it. I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to true it back up when I'm done with a punch. I just need to get rid of the excess brass. Let me grab a punch. We'll clean that up and see if any more of it needs to be filed away. I'll take my punch and insert it from the opposite end and just roll it through. When there's no resistance, I know everything is good, and I can feel that the tube, whoops, out of camera there, feels pretty flat, so I think I've done a good job. I can feel kind of a lip, so what I'm going to do is, there we go, I'm going to force the barrel trimmer through, or the punch through, till the lip is gone, and I don't feel anything on the surface. Now the other side of this blank happens to be a little out of whack too, not near as much as that side, but we're going to go ahead and clean it up. This only takes a second, and it will make a huge difference when you go to turn. And that blank is fixed and ready to be put back on the lathe. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these cleaned up, and then we'll get them turned. I brought the camera back out because I believe I found an easier way to clean these tubes up. It all of a sudden hit me that I have a Dremel tool and I have a bunch of these stones. I've not tried this yet, but we're going to see if it works. Seems like it took it down pretty well. I'm not feeling any lip in there, no resistance, and the tube is flat. Let's try another one. This may be the way to do it. And I think that's much better. These are nice and flat, and I'm not having to worry about trimming the side away, and it's a lot less work than filing, so I'm real happy. I'm just using just a standard stone in the Dremel tool on low speed, and it's cleaning things right up. I have these 2 colored pencil blanks that came apart on me while I was barrel trimming, and luckily I was able to find the lead, so that's going to help a lot. I just need to glue it back in. I've got a blue on this one and a purple on this one. I'm going to use a little medium CA glue and just glue the lead right back into the holes. Proving to be a lot more difficult than I initially had anticipated. Well, there we go. Finally got it down in there. And just for the sake of saying we helped it out a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of CA on there. Let me get these out of the way so I don't get the accelerator on there. Set that one aside. The blue one here looks like, okay, there we go. That's how it goes in. Put a dot in there. There we go, beautiful. And we'll give it a little bit of help as well. This back blank is the blank that I fixed earlier. I glued the purple into it right there. And while I'm turning, the front blank lost its lead. It went flying out and I've not been able to find it. But I remembered something that a fellow turner told me about. Something you guys might not know about Steve Tidwell. Steve Tidwell's over at Temple Boy Turnings, and I'm going to put a link to his YouTube page. He's got some really great stuff. He does a lot of different turnings. He turns different materials. And I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the comments. But one thing Steve does when he has these colored pencil problems is he likes to break out his crayons. Steve told me that if we take a crayon, for example this one, let me get it down in the light where you can see it, it's a lighter blue, and we melt it into that hole, that you can turn it and you'll never know. So I'm going to give this a try. I wasn't sure the best way to melt, so I thought I would just break out my old soldering iron and give that a shot. Looks like I did a pretty good job. Let's give that a few minutes to dry, and we'll carry on turning and see what happens. It's been about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. It feels like it's dry. There's a bit of a divot there where it kind of sank in, but I'm going to be taking some more wood away, so I think we'll just kind of go with it and see what happens. I'll leave the camera on for a little bit of the turning here so you can follow along. Here's the back side of that blue pencil, and here's what the fix looks like. Overall, it looks really good. Some of the crayon has smeared onto the wood, but I'm not going to worry a whole lot about that. I'll be sanding this and cleaning it with denatured alcohol, so I think that may clean that up a little bit. I'll come back for the sanding process and the cleanup process. I'm going to go ahead and finish the front blank, and I'll come back and show you what happens after I sand it and clean it, and hopefully this is a fix that we'll be able to use in the future. It'll save me a lot of searching around in the shop for these leads when they come out. I got the back blank turned, and it actually turned fairly well. No major issues. I had to add a little CA glue to this back pen, or back pencil, where it kind of separated from the blank, and I filled that in. Should look pretty good once it's finished. But I'm ready to start sanding, and let's focus on the front one here and see how this turns out.
I don't have my dust collector on at the moment because I really wanted to kind of be able to talk through this.
It's actually not doing too bad. It's still got a little bit of the crayon that's sort of showing through or showing around the wood. But I'm anxious to see what happens when I get finished sanding this and clean it up with a little bit of the denatured alcohol. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off. I'll finish sanding both blanks, and I'll come back when I'm ready to clean it, and we'll see what it looks like then. My blank's been sanded, and I'm ready now to clean it up with a little denatured alcohol. I'll put a little extra emphasis there on the crayon, hoping that it will clean it up a little bit. Let's see what it looks like. I still got quite a bit of blue around around the pin, or around the wood, it's kind of rubbing off a little bit. Get a dry paper towel and see what we can do. I don't want to rub too hard because I don't want to end up having an indention there, but yeah, it's actually cleaning up pretty good, you know. Take a look at that. I kind of like it. I think this is a great little fix. As you can kind of see where some of the wood left too, and the crayon sort of melted right into that wood area, so I think it'll make it way less noticeable. I think this is going to work out great. I'm going to go ahead and get some polish put on it, and I'll come back and show it to you once it's finished. Here's the blank with the fix. I'll get it up a little closer where you can see it. You can tell how it's darker, where some of the blue had faded into the wood. But the CA darkens it up a bit, and really I don't think it looks that bad. I'm actually very happy with it. Now I do have an idea for this, and I'm getting ready to turn another one of these. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't lose any of the lead, but if I do, I'm going to go ahead and finish it without the lead, and then I'm going to put one coat of CA on, then melt the crayon in there, and then I can just basically sand the crayon off. That way the CA glue will have locked in all the fibers of the wood, so it shouldn't stain it. I'm going to give that a try because I think this is a really good fix. It's just a matter of figuring out the proper way to apply it. So I just want to say a quick thank you to Steve Tidwell. Appreciate the tip, and we're going to keep trying, and hopefully we can make it work.